We're driving down Lee Boulevard, northbound in Leawood, Kansas. This is not too far from the house I lived in as a little boy from first grade through 7th grade. And I'm just kind of retracing some of my steps. One of the first things I wanted to see once I was in my car and had the mobility that you don't really have when you're driving a 15-foot U-Haul truck hauling a trailer with a car on it, was to go look at that house that I lived in. And the most amazing thing happened. The gentleman who lives there was out mowing the lawn, which was my job from about 1961 to 1965, once I was old enough to be trusted on the riding lawnmower. And I got to talking to the guy. I slowed down and he got off the tractor and came over and visited with me, and I told him that I grew up in that house. And he was talking about how one of his neighbors who died a couple of years ago, who I knew quite well, had given him some of the backstory about the house. And, you know, I was able to fill in a few blanks for him. And I asked him if he would be willing to let me come in and walk through the place. And, you know, I told him, you know, if you're not comfortable with it, I understand. But he let me come in, and I got a tour of the place. It was amazing. Some of the things are pretty similar. Much of it has changed through the years. We moved out of that house in 1965. I expected it to be totally different. And, you know, some of it was quite different. Some walls had been knocked down and new things had been added. And, you know, that's normal. But they really improved it. I mean, it's much nicer than it was when we were there. But then he took me downstairs to the basement. My dad had finished out the basement, and the bar that he built was still there. The same countertop that it had when we were there. And I went into the little room that was my playroom as a kid, where I had my little bowling alley on the concrete floor. About the only part of the basement that wasn't finished out. And part of it was the concrete floor was still exposed. And the most amazing thing happened. I looked down on the floor, and the little magic marker circles, dots that I had painted to set the bowling pins on, were faded but still visible. Ghosts from the past, man. Anyway, the guy was super nice. I understand that he probably had some misgivings about allowing a stranger into his home. I'd feel the same way, but he was very cordial, very nice, and it really couldn't have been nicer. And I'm just thrilled to have had the opportunity to walk through that place. Just unbelievable. Totally made the trip worth it. Anyway, that's it for now. We've driven through Lee Boulevard, and we're about to cross over into Missouri, and we're heading down to the AirBnB to check in. So we are just about moved in. Talk to you later.